Hey, this is Macy Gray. You are watching Malcolm Music.
We have singer, songwriter, actress, Grammy winner extraordinaire, Macy Gray. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You've been traveling all around Europe, all around the world. How's that been?
It's been crazy. It's been a lot of we have shows like 6 nights a week.
Okay.
So it's been a lot of driving, get on stage, get on the bus. But it's the thing I love to do. So work is pleasure.
This is your first original album in 4 years, I believe. You've done 2 sort of cover albums. What made you go back and decide to just be like, I need to do some original Macy Gray music?
I felt like we found like a new sound, and I had something to say that wasn't was stuff I had said already, and so it was just a creative thing where I felt like I had something to offer. You know what I mean? Rather than just putting a record out just to be putting out a record.
I really enjoyed I want to talk about your new album, The Way, which I also really loved. Been listening to it the whole time for the last few days. I want to talk about your previous album, the previous original album. I believe you've worked with Rodney Jerkins on there and Hit Boy. Mm-hmm. So those are like sort of modern, sort of pop kind of artists, and you were the sophisticated soul artist. I know you don't like boxes, but people like to give you that title. So how was that clash of these guys and with you? How was that collaboration?
It was wild because Hit Boy he wasn't Hit Boy yet. He was this kid. I happened to run into him. I was at the studio working on another record, and his manager walked him into my room and he goes, "Hey, this is Hit Boy. He's a new producer. He's, you should check him out, blah, blah, blah." He was 19.
Wow.
So I was like, yeah. So, but he kept coming, he was kind of really persistent. So we finally set up to work together, and he came up with like crazy stuff. He's like, he has this really, he gravitates towards like really groovy stuff, stuff that is musically hooky, that you won't forget, you know what I mean?
So it was a fun experience?
Yeah, we had a ball. It was just weird. I had never done that before.
How was he before he was this Hit Boy, Britney Spears collaboration? Like, how was that kind of guy?
He was a kid. He was like 19. He was like how you were when you were 19. Like,
okay.
He was just a kid.
How was working with Rodney Jerkins?
Rodney's legend, and people don't realize most of the things you hear on Rodney's records he's playing. I mean, he does his own string arrangements. He does, his beats. He's like an accomplished keyboard player. So he's probably way more sophisticated than I am, But he's amazing, and he knows what he's doing, and he's sure about what he wants, and he hires, the best people around to be on his records, and that's why he's Rodney Jerkins,
I believe you've done a song, a very sensual track, which many fans they loved it when they found out I was going to interview with Bobby Brown on the record.
Yeah. And
how was working with him? How did you experience him? Especially, he's been portrayed in I don't know if you've seen the Whitney film, and how was your experience with Bobby Brown?
Bobby's actually a really good friend of mine. Like we go over each other's houses, and he came over to my house and cooked one day. I mean, his wife is my best friend.
Wow.
So I see Bobby quite a bit. But he's adorable. He gets totally raped, in the press, because the perception of him is completely different than who he is. He's like a teddy bear. Like if you know him, he'd be like your best friend.
Have you reached out because of his daughter right now and her issues? Have you talked to him?
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he's doing good?
They're hanging in there. It's hard to say you're doing good under those circumstances, but she has a lot of support, and Bobby's an excellent father, and he's right there with her. So, I think she's gonna be okay. Yeah.
Now, I want to go back a little bit. You started 1999 when your first album came out, multi-platinum record.
Yeah.
Now, you were sort of in your late 20s when a big break came.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what do you have to say to those singers? You know, like, I'm 21, time is sort of clicking, and I like music, and I'm thinking, when will my big moment come? What do you have to say to those people? Because usually, if it doesn't start with 16, a lot of people are like, oh, it's not going to happen. But it did happen for you, so how was that? And what do you have to say?
Well, the saving grace is a lot of people who say they're 22 are really like 29 anyway. So you don't have to be intimidated by age, you know. And the cool thing about the music business is if you put out a great song, nobody really cares. Like, if you're 68 and you have bad acne, but say you do, I don't know, but say you make Rihanna records, like, who's gonna be mad at you? You know what I mean? It just so happens she's young and beautiful, but I just think people, you know, you like what you like, you dance to what you dance to, and they make a big deal of image in entertainment, but I really think when it comes down to it, people just, you know, they like to be moved, they like to dance, you know.
You really think people don't care? Because it's really funny. I was going to bring that up later, but you know R&B singer Tank?
Yeah.
He recently had a rant on Instagram where he wanted to quit music because he felt as though people of color do not get the same sort of, you know, amount of reception and critical acclaim and Grammys and whatever, like maybe a person who's not of color doing the same sort of soulful music. Mm-hmm. Now, do you understand his pain? Do you feel where he comes from? Or do you think it's just his music maybe doesn't connect like a Sam Smith or another artist?
No, I mean, like, you know, like I said, Sam Smith put out an awesome record, and you can't deny that. And if he was black, I don't think anybody would not buy that record. So it's hard to put race in the music business because the black culture really dominates, you know, even if you're not white, you know, your music is R&B based and based on blues and hip hop nowadays. I mean, hip hop is in almost every record now. That new country dude, Sam Hunt, country's not big out here, right?
No, not really.
No. But there's this new kid named Sam Hunt. He's really young.
Okay.
He's rapping on his country record.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy. So I don't know. It's just like if you go to hip hop. I mean, how many white hip hop artists do you know? There's a handful. There's Eminem.
But right now, the best-selling artists are white, like Michael Moore and Eminem and.
Yeah, but that's two.
And
there's
Iggy
all
Azalea.
the three.
Yeah, and
I know, but how many black hip hop artists
it's
are
true.
there?
No, you're right.
There's
You're
a
right.
gazillion.
It's an abundance. I mean, I
I
think.
mean, it has to be. You have to mix it up. I think, you know, at the end of the day, too, people gravitate towards what they relate to. Like if you're a 22-year-old white girl,
Yeah.
and you see Iggy Azalea, you're gonna pick up her record before you go get Nas's
And I
record.
think that's perfectly alright.
I do
mean, it
too.
makes sense. I mean, I know
Yeah.
I like something that sort of resembles me, so
Exactly.
I don't think there's an issue. And I think lots of black artists are way more popular in Africa than many white artists.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
that's no coincidence either.
Yeah, geography's everything. Yeah.
Now well, no, something you've won a Grammy for that song "I Try."
Yeah.
I remember in an interview you've said the label chose the song. You didn't want that song to be released.
Right.
Now, how does one have to imagine that you, Macy Gray, the artist, gets overruled by some label person, and how does that happen?
It's cool, you know, you gotta let people do their job. Like if I'm a new artist and I walk into this label and there's 20 people who've been doing it for 20 years, then I'd have to be a fool to like say, no, listen, do what I say, you know what I mean? So luckily they didn't listen to me at all. And they did their jobs, and you know, there's a balance. Sometimes the artist is right, sometimes you go in there and you fight for what you want, and you're right, but that's always risky because sometimes if you don't do what they say, then they kind of get a little. They go to some other thing where the artist is doing what they're telling them. You know what I mean? So it's a very, you know, it's like they call it a game because it kind of is. It's like a big chess game all day.
Now it got you the award for best pop vocal performance.
Yeah.
How was that moment, that Grammy moment? Like, because that's something that I'm personally interested in. There's not many people who have that. So how was that moment for you?
It was amazing. It's like you want to win, but I was really nervous to get up in front of all those people. And the year before, I had been nominated for, I think, 4, and I didn't win any.
Wow.
So I wasn't expecting to win. I was just gonna go for fun and go to all the parties. So it was the first award. So I was really nervous, and I didn't have no speech prepared. So I forgot all the people I was supposed to thank. So it's kind of a disaster, but I got my Grammy, you know,
okay.
And it's the funnest moment ever, you know.
In light of that, in your video for Stoned, there's a screenshot of Kanye West interrupting Taylor Swift. Now he's done it again at the Grammys to the artist's back. How do you view that, and how would you have felt if somebody would have done that to you? Like, how do you view such behavior? Somebody just because it's a big moment for an artist to win such an award.
Yeah, my problem with that was that no one had heard Beck's record, and they were kind of slamming him because Beyonce didn't win, but nobody had heard. Like, I doubt if Kanye heard his record. Maybe he did.
And he admitted he hasn't heard it. He recently done an interview.
He did?
Yeah.
Yes, so, I don't know. What would the world be without Kanye? I mean, he's entertaining and
what would you have done if you would have tried to just take away your Grammy moment?
I would just held on to my Grammy like, no, you can't have it.
Have you worked with him in the past?
It was weird. There was another situation where I was at the studio and he was in the next room and he asked me to come do some vocals on this song that never came out.
Okay.
So that was my Kanye.
Your Kanye.
My Kanye career. Yeah.
Later, my personal favorite album came out. I don't know how to pronounce it though. D-I-D or D-I-D?
D-I-D, yeah.
D-I-D. What is id?
The id in psychology, there's 3 parts to your brain.
Okay.
There's the id, the ego, and the superego.
Oh, okay.
The id is
Freud. That's German.
Oh, what do you call it?
Freud? Freud.
Yeah, from Freud, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
You've worked with many artists that I love. How was collaborating with Erykah Badu?
She was super cool. She's went in there and she's like a gangster. She just goes in and nails it. It was me, her, and Rick Rubin sitting in a room, and he's telling her the vocal arrangement that he wants, and she's just like nailing it, like, you know. She's pretty awesome.
I love about your collaborations, you always choose to just include them subtle. Like, it's not like they sing lead, but they give you a little background vocal or appear here and there. Is that a conscious decision to do these collaborations like that?
I guess. I don't know. That was really Rick's idea, bringing Erykah in, and I don't know. I never really thought about it, you know. I don't mean to insult anyone.
Yeah.
Just sometimes, even when I had Angie Stone and Mos Def.
Yes, and also Sunshine Anderson. It's just a very quick little...
Yeah, well, Sunshine was a friend of mine, and then Mos Def and Angie would just happen to be there. So I said, come over and do backups, and they did.
So it was just coincidental, so there's no methods behind that, I thought.
Yeah, I'm learning that a lot of collabs you hear are just people happen to be in the same room, you know.